Hey, what's happening out there? This is Halftime Prep Talk. We're here bright and early on a Wednesday morning at Putnam Stadium, where we will be joined by Ashland football coach Tony Love in just a little bit, and also players Jay Lane, Dylan Blevins, and Chase Goebel. If you want to check out our Chick-fil-A ticker at the bottom of your screen, you can see what games are coming up this weekend aside from Ashland Johnson Central. There are some other big games as well, and also a recap of last weekend. Of course, HTPT is always sponsored by Fannin Automotive Family. I'm here with Zach Clemmie. I'm Aaron Snyder. Zach, so far, we're several weeks into the season now. We're going to week 10, which is unbelievable to think about.
Absolutely.
Halloween's coming up, though. We're just a few days away, actually just over a week away from trick or treat. What do you think as far as when you think about teams that might have been wearing certain masks so far this season? What team has maybe masked their true identity so far? Or maybe what team has been wearing so many different masks you don't know which one they're going to wear on Friday nights?
I think the few teams in the area that we've mentioned before have just been so inconsistent on a Friday night. They can come out one night and they can end a losing streak in a rivalry that's dated back 30 years, and then the next night they can come out and they can lose to a team that they should be a 4-touchdown favorite over. Obviously, in that particular scenario, Russell is the team. Raceland's been like that. Fairview's been like that. To a certain degree, Ashland's been like that because they've not lost yet, but they've come out and they've played, you might almost say, down to the level of their competition in a few games. I think, too, Ashland almost works in that scenario because we might see some different personnel in a game like against the Johnson Central differently than they've used their personnel so far, because it's simply a fact of the matter that they're going to have to pull out all the stops in order to be able to beat them, which is certainly possible, but it's going to take maybe something different than what they've shown so far.
What specifically, Zach, do you think that they might pull out of their hat, so to speak, on Friday night against Johnson Central? And this is no indication of what we've gotten from Ashland. Yeah. This is just something that we're kind of speculating, spitballing.
Yeah, and it's dangerous to do that, but just an idea. Ashland has been the Quentin Baker show on offense this year. They've got a few other, D1 type playmakers, at least one other one, and Drew O'Brien has not played a lot of offense. Kirtland Brown is usually brought in toward the end of games or kind of dispel Baker. They've not thrown the ball a lot. Those are some different options that they could try to mix in, and they are very familiar with Jim Manny, the way he coaches defense, and maybe they think they might know where they could try to attack that defense differently than they have so far this year, and it's possible they've tried to keep some stuff under their hat to get ready for that. So that's just us kind of guessing and speculating, but it's a possibility that we might see some different things personnel-wise this week than we've seen from Ashland this year.
Yeah, more on that game coming up in top 3 games of the week. As far as maybe concealing their true identity, I kind of look at the Rams of Raceland a little bit. It's a team that has played very well at times. They went up the valley and played them very closely and almost pulled out that win. That was a testament to their character. I think they have a good team character overall. I think maybe the focus hasn't been quite as strong week to week as it has been the last couple years.
Right.
But I think that they still have a pretty good senior group overall, and I like their line play. And we'll get into that a little bit too when we talk about the Paintsville game. But I think Raceland is still a team that should be reckoned with. You can't just forget about them just because they lost to Fairview, because Fairview is no joke either.
Right.
They're one of those teams that wears a different mask every
Sure.
week, like we talked about.
Sure.
So Raceland might be better than what we've seen so far.
I think they probably are, and we'll certainly find out this week. They'll have to be better than they've been at any week so far this year in order to hang with Paintsville, so we'll see if they can do that for sure.
Well, to further recap this past weekend, let's move on to game balls. Zach, I'll let you have the honors first, man.
All right. You just want me to dry it off because it's wet?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I had the Raceland Fairview game on Friday night, and it's just a great game. Playing really for Fairview and the quarterback Alex Roy. We've talked before about how he needs to kind of mentally master the game, master their offensive approach, limit mistakes, limit bad throws. Hit his first 7 passes, 10 of his first 13 against Raceland. There were some holes in their defense, and threw a lot of underneath stuff. He kind of falls in love with the long ball sometimes to Antoine Washington, and how could you not, as explosive as that play can be. But he took what Raceland gave him. That was very effective. They were able to move the ball, and then, of course, they're put in the situation behind for the first time all game. With 50 seconds to go, and they have the ball on their own 45-yard line and just marched down the play about 10 seconds of play or so. It only took 5 plays to cover 55 yards, and they needed every second of it scored on that touchdown pass to Antoine Washington from 7 yards out on the last play of the game. So Alex Roy managed the offense better than he has at times this season, shown that he's kind of started to master as a quarterback, you cannot take plays off. You cannot just throw the ball foolishly. You've got to really run the offense 100% full tilt every play, and he really seems to have grasped that this week, and so we'll go with Alex Roy.
All right. Yeah, I almost fumbled this ball on the way over here, man. It's when it's cold out, this thing becomes hard as a rock.
Is that why you're wearing gloves?
Oh, you had to point it out, and you're not. So there you go.
Linemen don't wear gloves.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, former lineman right here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. No.
We don't have time for that.
Okay, sorry. We almost got on the soapbox. Okay, game balls, yes. So let's keep our focus here. Quentin Baker. I went out on a limb, man. What can I say? Went out on a limb.
Difficult choice.
If you ever heard of him, he plays right here on Friday nights. He's going to Marshall next year. Quentin Baker was just an unbelievable playmaker, and he had a monster play on Friday night against Greenup County when his team desperately needed it. 0-0. I'm going to ask Coach Love about this, but they pick and choose the right times to play him on defense.
Absolutely.
And he came in and made a humongous play, an 85-yard interception return that, as we noted in the paper, turned the tide for the game. And they ended up, that sparked them for the rest of the night, and they beat Greenup County pretty handily. Quentin Baker also ran for over 150 yards, which is no easy task against the Greenup County defense. So Quentin Baker on both sides of the ball deserves a game ball. Top 3 games of the week. Almost sang a little bit. I was thinking about the other night. I actually listened to a little bit of the radio call from the Ashland Greenup game. And Dickie Martin on the radio for the Tomcats almost sang when Quentin Baker scored the touchdown. It was kind of like this: Quentin Baker, the touchdown maker.
There you go.
I can't mimic Dickie. I wish we could have him out here today.
I probably would have said yes.
I know.
He'd have been delighted.
Well, next time, if we return here for the playoffs, we'll get him on.
There you go.
Back to top 3 games of the week. Bath County at Russell. A lot of importance with this game. Bath County really needs to win.
They do.
Russell needs to win as well, just to keep that top spot or stay in the tie for the top spot. Bath County's kind of been a mild surprise this season. They've done a nice job, especially running the ball, and played decent defense at times under new coach Johnny Pointer. He's come in there and kind of righted the ship a little bit. So what do you think? Do you think they have a chance at Henry R. Evans Stadium on Friday?
I think they've got a chance to keep it competitive for a while, but Russell, one of those things we talked about a little bit ago, that kind of wears the masquerade masks, happy and sad, and you're not really sure which one you're going to get at a time. The loss to Fleming probably is the best thing that could have happened to them, because they realized, okay, you can't play like maniacs to beat Ironton and then turn around 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later and not give it your best. Play like maniacs to beat West Carter in what they said was the most important game on their schedule, then turn around the next week and lose to Fleming. Now, that's taking nothing away from Fleming, but they should not have beaten Russell at Russell this year with this personnel. And so I think Russell has got his head in the right place now, I would think, and should be able to take care of Bath.
Yeah, I think the Red Devils will. I think with Jacob McKee is pretty much close to back to full health, it seems, and they've been playing better overall in defense. I like their secondary people too. I mean, I know with Bath County they're going to run the ball mostly, but those guys can come up. They're not afraid to tackle you as well. So I think Russell gets it done on Friday night. Raceland at Paintsville, a big one. That's we've been looking forward to this one all season long, and I think maybe Raceland even was looking forward to this one a little too much. And as weird as it sounds, maybe the Rams overlooked Fairview. I might be out of line by saying that, but I think they may have.
I think you're right, and that's taking nothing away again from Fairview. And Fairview showed what happens when you do that to Fairview. They took advantage of it and shocked the Rams there in their own house. And we've talked about. Paintsville has just absolutely blown through everybody they played this year, with the exception of Pikeville. But Raceland has been challenged week in and week out. There's been maybe only 1 or 2 weeks all year that they've not had to fight to win that game. And to me, that works in Raceland's favor. Paintsville's had the week off. You wonder if that will affect their rhythm. Very well coached team, Joe Cherico, will not allow that to happen, most likely. But I like Raceland's chances to go down there and a mild surprise. It would be if they're able to beat Paintsville, but what they would do is throw a monkey wrench into the playoff picture, and then week 11 comes into play, strength of victory, common opponents and other opponents, and all that kind of rigmarole. So we'll see how that goes.
I know you're a proponent of chaos, so you probably want that to happen.
Sure, why not?
Chaos.
Which I'm not saying I want Paintsville to lose,
of course.
but I do want to see chaos, yes.
Well, I think I'm with you. I think the Rams will go down there and win. And, we're two of probably very few people that might even say that. But, the way Paintsville's been playing. Now, Paintsville does win. I think that's the pinnacle win of the regular season, not the Pikeville win. This one over Raceland. This is the one that they've been, there's been some chatter about throughout the preseason. And, justifiably so. Raceland won both meetings last year. Raceland won in the playoffs last year, 32-21 over at Ram Stadium. Going down there is going to be a tough task for Raceland, but I think that their line play is as good as there is in the area. I think it's fair to say, or at least in Class A.
Yeah, no question.
Paintsville's is good too. But the key here is the guy that we talked about last week, and we talked about him before too, is Kent Phelps, because Raceland didn't have to face him last year. That's just another weapon they have to account for.
Right. Paintsville will be tested up front like it has not been this year, so we'll see how they respond to that. But Paintsville has a little bit more probably at its skill positions than Raceland does, so it might be a little bit of a wash there. So we'll see what happens for sure.
Of course, Raceland was tested here as well, and Ashland right here will be hosting Johnson Central. That's our third of the top 3 games, and maybe the number 1 game of the week if we had to rank them. We don't do that anymore. But Johnson Central at Ashland. And there have been some classic matchups in this series. Johnson Central has kind of had the upper hand here of late. 2011 was Ashland's last win, which they had a fantastic season that year as they are now. So maybe they can repeat that. That was here at Putnam Stadium.
Right.
Kate O'Brien was on the team, Drew's older brother. Yeah. He had some big plays in that game. But there have been some other classic finishes in this series. 2009, 29-28 win for Johnson Central in Paintsville. 2005 was a wild one right here. Ashland won by field goal, 13-10. So I expect another doozy. Johnson Central has played exceptionally well, and their closest test has probably been that Lex Cath game, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
42-28.
Passed it with flying colors.
Ashland's closest test was the GW game.
Yeah. Thing is, too, that Lexington Catholic game may not have been as close either as the final score indicated. Hearing that Johnson Central was close to getting a running clock in that game and just kind of let off the throttle a little bit. Maybe that will indicate to them that you cannot get in a situation like they'll be in here Friday if they get in position, they control the game, put their throat down, the foot on the throat. They have to do that. We've said also all year that, speaking of teams that have been tested, Ashland's been tested a little bit more maybe than Johnson Central has. That's where the Oscar Smith cancellation, maybe that wasn't the best thing for Johnson Central. Sure, they didn't send their guys out and get, manhandled and waylaid, but they've not had to learn how to play from behind this year either. So Ashland has been more tested, but I like Johnson Central's line play, their speed. They have more speed than they've had before, led by Jordan Bland. Bryce Workman can get to the edge and run. They've got a good deep backfield, very physical, large defensive line. And again, Ashland will be tested maybe like they haven't been tested all year up front. So I like Johnson Central to get it done close here.
And Johnson Central just with the 2 guys that play both ways, that's going to help them as well. Of course, Ashland's got several too.
Yeah.
They just play one way, but I like Bryce Workman, good quarterback. And I like the fact that for Johnson Central anyway, that they're going to throw a lot of different things at Ashland that it's just going to keep their defense on their toes. I think Ashland can come up with big defensive plays.
Absolutely.
They have all season long. It's just, to me, it's going to come down to this. How well will the Tomcats channel their emotions? Being here at home, Johnson Central has to do the same thing, but they don't have to deal with the home crowd and everything. Now, that could be an advantage, of course. But they have to channel their emotions in the correct way or in the early going.
Right.
And then if they get Johnson Central locked up in a tight one midway second quarter, I expect it to be tight the whole way.
Absolutely.
I do think Johnson Central will come out ahead just in a narrow escape. I think it'll be another classic.
Yeah, and that's the best possible game. If either one of these teams has designs on a run to the championship game like they've talked about all year, road to the ring and all that, this is a game they need to play. And if they play again in about 3 weeks, like we all expect that they probably should, that'll be another atmosphere that they'll need to be in order to have a shot against whoever comes out of the West, because they will be tested in that game, like maybe they won't be tested until this game.
Jay Lane, Chase Goebel, Dylan Blevins, Tony Love coming up. Here on HTPT with Jay Lane here at Putnam Stadium. Kind of a big game coming up Friday, isn't it? It's going to decide the district. Johnson Central coming in here. It's been such a good series, hasn't it? What are some of the keys against Johnson Central, especially maybe for the defense?
I would just say staying focused and knowing that it's going to be a slugfest and it's going to be a battle.
The defense, you kind of look at a few different guys. It's been a team effort for you guys. A lot of times Drew O'Brien, Taylor Broughton will get a lot of the attention. But you, Dylan Blevins, Chase Goebel, those guys are going to be on here in just a little bit. Several guys have stepped in and done well on defensive end. How far has this defense come along?
Well, from last year, we were fast, but we weren't I wouldn't say we weren't as physical as we are this year. We're a whole lot more physical. We've hit the weight room more hard in the offseason, got a whole lot stronger from last year, and everybody's just kind of grown in like the basic stuff. So we can.
And Chad Tackett is now defensive coordinator. How much different is that?
Coach Tackett has more of an aggressive attitude than Coach Love, and I like the upbeat more a little bit more.
Yeah, Coach Love, and then you have Coach Daddy as offensive coordinator. Those three guys kind of leading that staff. What's it like playing for this staff?
I would take any of them with me anywhere in life. They've taught all of us probably as a team what it's like to be a little bit in the real world and everything like that.
Heading into this big matchup with the Golden Eagles, you guys are 8-0. Did you envision such a good start to this season?
I did. I don't know if any of my teammates did. I think they did. I did because I knew we were something special.
When did you know that?
In the off season.
What was it about the off season that made you think this is going to click and be something special?
Our coaches try to push us as much as they can until we would break, and it didn't work. It didn't work all season, all off season.
Jay, as far as the future goes, maybe after football even, what are you planning on doing after this year?
Well, I've had a couple small college visits for football and just going to college to get my business degree. I want to do carpentry.
All right, Jay, best of luck on Friday, and thanks for joining us. All right, Dylan Blevins on the set now. Dylan, a big change for you on the defensive side. You went from free safety to defensive end. Not exactly a switch you see all the time.
Yeah.
Not your everyday switch, from linebacker to D end or something. So what was that like going from free safety to D end?
It's completely different playing in open field and right up on the line. Just got to work harder, get bigger, stronger.
When do you think it kind of clicked for you? Hey, I like this. I like this position.
Oh, the first game I played defensive end against Raceland last year. I loved it.
You've come up with some big plays all season. What would you kind of pinpoint maybe as a highlight play for you?
Oh, when I got to pick against Ironton. DNs aren't supposed to get picks, so that was pretty nice.
But see, you have experience of getting picks back in secondary.
Yes, sir.
Put those two together. Being up front now, you said you've kind of taken over for Burgess since he got hurt in the GW game. So, what's it been like just being able to block for a playmaker like Quentin Baker?
Well, he makes you look better. So, I wasn't mad at him for that. He just makes plays. There'd be holes that I couldn't fit through. He just shifts right through it.
And there's a couple other guys too with Noah Roberts and Kirtland Brown. There's several guys that you probably feel comfortable with getting the ball in the backfield.
Oh yeah, they all got the same speed. They're all just really fast.
How far along do you think that Tate Dowdy's come along as a quarterback?
Oh, he's came a long way. I'm very impressed with him.
And he's got some speed too, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he's really shifty.
Yeah. Now as far as back to Quentin a little bit and back to this past Friday night against Greenup County. How big was that play, and how much did it change the complexion of the game when he got the pick right before the half?
Before half, it changed everything. Our offense started clicking. Everybody started getting more riled up, and got us back into the game and focus.
I know you guys wanted to play better in that first half, and you came out in the second half and responded. What was halftime like in that locker room?
Well, it was very emotional from what happened at the beginning of the game, and he just told us, you gotta focus, bring it back in, because we were all rowdy and just running around.
Back to that GW game, it was a wild night, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Ended up being a wild morning because it finished up after 1 a.m. It was just one of those nights. It started off with a speech from Coach Conley, right? Coach Herb
yes,
Conley. So, what did you guys kind of get from Coach Conley's speech? Did you guys feed off that?
Oh yeah, that's what got us through the game, all the way into 1 o'clock in the morning. When nothing left was there, pushing. That's what got us through the game.
that 1975 team that he coached, a state at-large championship 40 years ago, the Jaws defense, as it's well known for. Have you guys kind of drawn some inspiration from that team a little bit?
Oh yeah. I mean, we have our own identity, but always defense, trying to get there.
All right, Dylan. Well, thanks for joining us, man. I'm here with Chase Goebel now. Chase, another senior for this Tomcat team. A load of seniors on this team. That's proven to be a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, how tight is this group?
Everybody on this team's like best friends. We all hang out after and before practice, and just we're all close.
Obviously, your twin brother's on the team as well. Clay Goebel, he's a little bit bigger than you. He plays center.
Yeah.
What's it like being a twin?
Some people think it'd be fun to have him. In my experience, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's a little annoying, I guess. But it has its benefits.
When is it most annoying? Dare I ask?
People getting our names get like mixed, and just not knowing which one's which and that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Coach Love ever get that mixed up?
Whenever he first moved there, yeah, he did.
Well, he's probably gotten a hold of it now, hasn't he?
He has,
okay.
yeah.
All right. And it seems like, with you've kind of gotten hold of your role.
Yeah.
How have you embraced your role, and how has your role kind of enhanced this year?
Well, like last year, I was at a completely new school, new football class from 1A to 4A, and my confidence wasn't as like where it should be, and I was just not making plays like I should. And then, like after the off season, getting used to everything, and my confidence is built, and I feel like I'm a better player because of that.
Yeah, you've been at Boyd County and at Fairview and now at Ashland. What are some of the different things that you may have learned from each of those places?
It's kind of like every place has its benefits, and
What do you think maybe sets Ashland apart from those two? Not saying not necessarily saying Ashland's better, so to speak.
Yeah.
It might be better for you.
Yeah.
But what do you think maybe sets it apart from other places?
It's more of a family atmosphere, and just everybody's closer here than they were like everyone else.
Gotcha. What about the future for you? What does the future hold for you?
After this season, I might get the chance to play college somewhere, hopefully. If not, then I'm not really sure about that yet.
The immediate future, Friday night, Johnson Central. What is the best way to this place is going to be rocking.
Yeah.
What is the best way to kind of channel those emotions the right way and go out there and, keep your heads about yourself and not have too many penalties, because those things can kind of happen in these kind of rivalry games, especially with the stakes being so big. So what's the best way to kind of channel that excitement?
Just focusing on your job and what you have to do to win that game for your team, and just knowing that you're going to give everything you have no matter what.
All right, Chase, thanks. Best of luck. Thank you. Here with Ashland football coach Tony Love in his third season as a head football coach here. Special place at Putnam Stadium, isn't it? And here on Friday night, it's going to be a rocking atmosphere against Johnson Central. My question is, how as a coach can you kind of help your team channel the emotions in the correct way against such a rival and with the stakes so large?
Well, we try to take it one day at a time. Talk to the kids that we want passion to fuel them, but emotions not to take them over. And last week, I think we let our emotions kind of get to us a little bit coming into that game. And we have to learn from everything that we do throughout the season, get better for the next week. And that's the approach we've taken this week. They're football players. It's going to be a football game. It'll be a lot of people, but ultimately it comes down to the guys on the field making plays.
One guy that's going to be here, his name is Larry Sloan. I'm sure you're familiar with him.
Yes, I am. He's our video guy. Does a great job with it.
Larry Sloan, I ran into him at the hospital the other day, and he's such a chipper, upbeat fella. In his mid-80s now, and he just had a heart attack, actually. And I walked by him, and I'm like, "What are you doing here, Larry?" And he said, "Oh, I had a heart attack." And he's so positive about it, just another bump in the road for him. And I said, "When am I going to see you on the football field again?" He said, "Friday night, Johnson Central, can't miss it."
He doesn't miss a thing when it comes to Tomcat football. He's passionate about it, like a lot of people in this community, like about everybody. And you know, he's excited for the season. He's excited what we've done, and I'll tell you, he gave me some grief this weekend, though.
He did?
Yes, he did. And he came in and said, if our kids do those things on Friday night, they'll get whipped by Johnson Central. I mean, he pulls no punches, and he's a great guy to have around.
Well, that's the thing I was going to ask you about the Greenup County game. What are some of the things, or maybe one or two things that the team kind of maybe picked up on, or you picked up on, maybe learned from to go into the Johnson Central game? Was it kind of a good test to go into the Johnson Central game?
I think so. I mean, Greenup has a good defense. They run to the ball well, and they play with passion. And as you go throughout the season, and you're in the situation that we're in, I'm sure Johnson Central feels the same thing, that the pressure starts growing week after week, and our kids were amped up. We're glad to get back home. We've been gone for a long time. The last time we played was Ironton here, and they're amped up, and we just have to be able to, like I said earlier, is use the passion to make you better on the football field, not tear you down.
You guys are 8-0, and one of the most outstanding games of the season was that George Washington game right here in the wee hours of the morning. It ended up finishing up at past 1 o'clock in the morning, and you guys won 26-25. How did that win affect your team?
Every win affects your team. Every game affects your team. I think you just try to find the things to correct. You find the things that you do well. You don't look back at it. You build on it. To know that they're an elite team in West Virginia, and you're allowed at this point. I told the kids, I said, we're good, and we want to be elite. We'll have to do some things differently, but it's okay to think that you're good, to feel like you're good. And I said, as a coach, a lot of times you're too critical. You're looking at, well, we did this wrong, we did that wrong, and you don't allow yourself to step back and say, we're a pretty good team. And I think the kids feel that. I think they're focused a lot more, and every win helps build that momentum.
And like you said, it's okay to accept that you are a pretty good team. You are overall. I mean, there are a lot of players that have stepped up throughout the season for you guys. And when you start naming them, you're going to get in trouble because you're going to leave somebody out,
right.
I'm sure. But one of the monster playmakers is, of course, Quentin Baker. And Baker had a huge play on Friday night, and it was on the defensive end. It kind of changed the complexion of the game against Greenup County. He had the 85-yard interception return. My question to you is, how, as a coach, do you pick and choose when you're going to insert him on defense?
It's just, we know that in order for us to be successful, in every game, you have to have the best players out there. But you also have to be selective when you do it, because you have to have something at the end of the game, in the fourth quarter, when the stakes are on the table. And that was just a situation where we felt like, we need to have a playmaker in there. Hopefully, they'll do something that will allow him to make a play, and that's what happened. You put the ball in the air. And, you said there's going to be a lot of, there has been a lot of playmakers this year. I could go down a list of a ton of them. I talk about the GW game. What comes to mind is Jalen Taylor blocking the extra point. That was huge for us.
Sure.
So, we stress to the kids that there are a lot of opportunities on the field, in the minutes that we're playing, and to seize the opportunities. When you get a chance to make a touchdown catch, you catch the ball. When you get a chance to get a sack, you make a sack. And, that's the mentality the kids have. And every one of them, they're looking to have their puzzle piece in what we need to do as a team, but at the same time, they're looking to make a play.
And so far, that puzzle's clicked rather well together. Going against Johnson Central now, of course, it's going to be another test for your offensive line. The offensive line has passed a lot of tests this year. And I have to look at my cheat sheet here because I don't want to miss the names. But Michael Burgess, who's now injured, he started out on the offensive line. Dylan Blevins took over for him. Taylor Broughton, Clay Goebel, Grant Kruger, and Cody Klein, those are some of the guys that's been up front and have played well for you guys, haven't they?
Absolutely. And, there's a senior bunch. They're big, they're strong, they're athletic, and they really have a good football concept. I commented about this at the GW game. Keep reflecting back on that one. That was a pretty key game for us. You know, those guys were in the locker room drawing things up on the board, and I had mentioned that, I think, to you all. You know, they think like offensive linemen, good offensive linemen. They know that in order for us to be successful, we've got to take care of business up front. And you look at any great team, if you have a good offensive line, then you can produce a lot more offensively, which keeps your defense off the field, and you know it works hand in hand.
And finally, I want to ask you about the Johnson Central series overall, because you've been a part of them, a long-time defensive coordinator here. You've been a part of a lot of these games. 2005, right here, decided by a field goal. Ashland won 13-10. 2009, Johnson Central won down there, 29-28. 2011 was the last time you guys won. It was right here at Putnam Stadium. Is there any particular game that jumps out above the rest in this series for you?
Yeah, the close losses, the series, when you put it on the scales, wins and losses, you'll see it's pretty lopsided in their favor. But there are several of those games that, you know, come down to the last possession of the game. And, you know, those are the hardest ones to accept. You know, we had them beat down there in the fourth quarter. Our fullback breaks out of there, and they strip the ball from him, you know, late in the ball game. You know, it's just every one of these games, when you look back at the video, you don't see such a wide spread of difference between us, in my opinion. Now, ultimately, it comes down to the wins and losses, and we have to start putting more on the other side of the scale, and hopefully we can do that Friday.
All right, Coach, best of luck.
Thanks.
All right, switching things up a little bit for Two for the Road. First of all, I took my gloves off, Zach, because you made fun of me earlier.
I didn't make fun of you. I made an observation.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm too sensitive.
Maybe.
Then we moved over here in front of Coach Conley's statue, which is quite imposing.
Yeah.
I feel short and,
Yeah.
oh well.
We should have stood on those stools that we had earlier, and then we'd be up here.
You can see why he was intimidating Coach.
Yeah. Especially if he had like a 2-foot tall step stool to stand on while he was
That's right.
lecturing.
So Coach Conley right here with us here on Two for the Road.
Yeah.
I'm going to go soccer for my Two for the Road item.
All right.
Rowan County girls soccer team pulled off kind of a shocking upset. I think you can go shocking, can't you, with that one?
Yeah.
Rowan's got a good team.
Yeah.
But just the fact that Russell lost for the first time inside the region since 2012 in the region semifinals, correct?
That's right.
So, you know, you look at Rowan County's girls and they deserve a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
But you're more kind of taken aback and surprised by Russell's girls not being able to win. But still a great season for Russell's girls and a nice run it's been for them and Coach Grizzle. So, you know, hats off to them for a nice run still. Rowan County, though, on Tuesday night was a better team, and they made the goal. They won 1-0. The Lady Vikings, or the Valkyries, or whatever they're called. We're going to go Lady Vikings for soccer, Valkyries for volleyball.
There you go.
The Lady Vikings moved on and played Ashland on Thursday night for the championship. But you kind of look back at the 2012 a little bit. On the boys' side, when I thought of when that happened on Tuesday night, I thought of Greenup County's run on the boys' side in 2012. You know, with Rowan County pulling off that upset against Russell, I think it was similar to what Greenup County did. Of course, they did it 3 times and won the region championship. Yeah. And Greenup County was more of a surprise. You know, Rowan County's girls, they've had a solid season all season long. Greenup County just kind of hit fire there at the end. So.
Comparison to that might almost be West knocking East out of the district semis.
That's a good point.
And East Carter considered one of the favorites in the region in the year, not even making it into the region tournament. But switching gears a little bit, we look at baseball, and of course postseason baseball this time of year, and you feel it in the air. It's that little nip and cold chill, and enough to make you want to wear gloves almost. But almost. Looking at Daniel Murphy has just had a crazy postseason this year. Hit a career high 14 homers in the regular season. He has 6 now in the last 8 games in the postseason, and this is taped on Wednesday, so whatever happens Wednesday night is not included in those statistics. Homered off of Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke, Jake Arrieta, John Lester in the postseason. Just had an absolutely crazy year. He's a free agent after this year, so this is the best possible time for him to have a week like that. It's almost just kind of one of those things of he's tied Carlos Beltran for the most games in a row in the postseason with a home run with 5, and of course Beltran did it in 2004. when the Astros were making one of their postseason runs. But it's just kind of crazy the way that somebody different will come out of nowhere, and you mentioned a couple of guys in the postseason to have a big year when really there was no reason to expect that they would do that based on their regular season or even their career to date. And our colleague and coworker Adam Van Kirk, one of his big things is you always either progress or regress to the numbers on the back of your baseball card. So if Daniel Murphy just makes this crazy jump and continues this in the next season, then you almost, players have lost the presumption of innocence. You wonder if maybe he's been doing something else he shouldn't have been doing without going too far down that road. But as for now, you can just kind of enjoy the run he's on, and it's certainly one of the most historic ones. Whether or not anybody will remember him, or he won't be in Cooperstown probably, but right now he's maybe the best baseball player in the game right this very minute.
Right now it's Murph's turf and everybody else is playing on it. That's what it is. A couple guys that I did mention was Cody Ross and David Freese of recent seasons. It kind of, his run just kind of reminds me of those two guys. Solid players, but also guys that kind of jumped around a little bit from different teams and, never had that breakout season. But all you need is a breakout 5 or 6 games.
Right.
And that's
Absolutely.
all it takes. But to do it against some of in the clutch situations and against some of the stellar pitching that he's done is even more remarkable.
Crazy.
Yeah. I wanted to extend a quick congratulations to my sister Allison Biggs, who had produced the show for a while, and she just had a baby on Tuesday. Camden Edward Biggs was born on Tuesday, so I wanted to extend congratulations to her and her husband Brent. So now both of our producers have babies.
How
Adam
about
Black
that?
has a little baby too.
Yeah.
We're going to join you next week from a place unknown.
Typical.
Maybe East Carter, maybe Paintsville. We're just going to surprise you next week.
Yeah.
So come back and find out. HTPT is sponsored by Fannin Automotive Family, Zach Clemming, Aaron Snyder, Coach Conley. See you.